MidwestPicker.com.
Hey, Midwest Picker here. It's been a long time since I've made a video. It's about time. This time it's a little different. So if you're new to the channel, my name is Dave. I'm a part-time content creator here on YouTube. I'm a part-time reseller, full-time nurse, father, husband. I make these videos to help people that are new to reselling, not just eBay, but reselling in general. I do what's sold on eBay videos, I do sourcing videos, and down in the description below I have links to how-to videos, how to ship, how to source, how to list, how to research. So if you're new to reselling, check out those links. They're a little dated, kind of hilarious videos, but they're still very helpful. So check those out. So recently, I think it was a YouTube subscriber. Yeah, she was commenting on one of my videos. Her name is Dee C Sells. I'll put a picture up here. And she mentioned she would like to see a tour of my lapel pins. So I've sold lapel pins probably in the last year. And if you don't know, my family owned a lapel pin manufacturing business, so I have some leftover lapel pins. I decided to stop selling them, and I'm going to keep them, and I'll explain why in a minute. But it was mentioned that they would like to see a tour of my lapel pins. So let's talk about the history of my family's business. I like to say, first of all, this video is for entertainment purposes only. This is not educational or legal. But before I get into that history, I want to show you what has sold real quick. And a disclaimer too, in the second part of the video, I'm going to try a different camera angle. I'm going to mount it on a tripod and point down at my desk behind me, and I'll show you those pins. But before we do that, let's quickly look at what has sold already. So here you're going to see some pictures of lapel pins that other people have sold. These are not mine. I just pulled these off of eBay. You can see that the prices are just crazy good. Hundreds and hundreds of dollars. These are very hard to find lapel pins. They're pretty rare. I'm showing you these so that when you're out in the wild and you're sourcing, say flea markets, garage sales, church rummage sales, even antique stores might not know what they have. You'll find these in little sewing kits, little cigar boxes, little jewelry boxes of just stuff like cufflinks and bolo ties and brooches, and these lapel pins might be scattered in there. So keep an eye out for things like this. Now these are lapel pins that I have sold. So you can see these sell for about $35 a piece. That was my asking price. Some of them are Corvette pins, car pins. Some of them are tractor pull tractors. Some of them I took a best offer of $25, which I regret doing that. I should have held out for $35. But I've done very well in the past year selling these lapel pins that were my personal property. They were in a bucket. I wasn't displaying them, so I thought I'd sell them. Well, since then, I've changed my mind. The really nice ones I have pulled off of my eBay store, and I'm going to keep them. I do have a couple still on my eBay store if you're interested, but not these. These are all sold and gone, and you can see from the prices that I got that I did very, very well. So those are long gone, but they're all purchased by collectors. There was a Corvette collector down in, I believe it was Kentucky, and she messaged me and she was super excited. Her and her husband own 10 Corvettes, and then they have like a shrine in their house of die-cast cars and posters and buttons and, you know, shot glasses, everything. And she found my Corvette lapel pins on eBay. She was super excited, asked if I had more. So I sold them to her. I think I turned offers on because she wanted to buy like 5 of them. So they sold very, very well. Now, as this video progresses, I'm just going to cover up my big fat head with actual photos, and then we'll get to the desk behind me. So my dad purchased a lapel pin manufacturing business back in 1983. Now, back then, I was only 17 years old, and I was a junior in high school. So this was pretty cool for a high school kid to work at a lapel pin manufacturing business. Now, the manufacturing technique to make these pins is called spin casting. Now, there are other ways to make lapel pins. You can stamp them out of steel with dies, or you can machine them. But back in the 80s, and some people still do this today, they were spin cast. So what that involves is a spinning machine, basically, and I'll show all these pictures too. And molten lead or metal is poured into it. So the first step of a lapel pin basically is to have the customer provide you with an image. So it could be a business card, it can be a photograph, any kind of image at all. Then the engraver draws a two-dimensional image of what they think the customer wants. It's sent to the customer, they sign off on it, and then the process begins. Then the engraver uses a machine called a pantograph. You might have seen these when you were a kid. There's small ones and large ones. Well, for industrial use, it's basically the same thing. It's a pantograph that's hooked up to an engraver. And you can take an image and make the exact same size, or you can size it down, or you can size it up. But that's what we used to take a picture or an image and use a pantograph engraving machine. This image is then carved into a block of magnesium metal, and this is what would be like the master die. From that master die, we made rubber molds. These were round molds made out of rubber, basically. And multiple images, 4, 5, 6, 7 images were pressed into a rubber mold based on the size of the lapel pin. And then that rubber mold was put in a machine called a vulcanizer. What that did is it hardened the rubber so it would be like the consistency of a car tire. Had some softness, some flexibility so it would bend, but it was very durable. This is not Star Trek. This is this is the name of the machine, a vulcanizer. And then when it came out of that machine, it was hard enough you could cut it. So then you could cut channels into the mold, and you had to be very good and know what you were doing. Otherwise, if you did it wrong and you poured hot metal into it, it would just come right up the top and it wouldn't work. So you had to be very skilled at this part. So then this rubber mold would be placed into a spin casting machine, and molten metal from a little ladle would be poured into it. Now the metal that we used was lead. 2 reasons: it was inexpensive and it has a good low melting point. Now today lapel pins are made of 4 basic metals. You can use zinc, you can use tin, you can use lead, or you can use pewter. Well, pewter's a little expensive, so we never use that. That does have a very low melting point of 450 degrees, but that's not cost effective. But we had access to lead and a lot of it. If you don't know, older cars had counterweights on the wheels to help balance them. Those are big, ugly lead weights. There's also sinkers that fishermen use. We were able to access lead pretty easily by the bucketful, so that's what we went with. So after they're casted, you pry them out of the rubber molds, you give them a quick inspection, you break them loose, put them on trays, and then they go to the painting room. So we painted these pins with epoxy paint using syringes and needles. We'd use wire cutters and cut the point off of the needle because you didn't really need it. Give the needle a little bit of a bend or a hook in it, and then you by hand would paint every channel and cavity in these lapel pins. Next step was to bake these pins in like a cabinet oven. Not really an oven, super hot lights were in there, and for several hours they would just bake in there, and that would dry the paint much quicker. After the paint was dried, it would go to buffing, and a lot of times I got stuck with this job, but that's okay, I had a good time. So we used a pumice powder compound and mixed it with water like a mud, and then you would smear this mud on the lapel pin and hold it up against a buffing wheel. That would smooth out the lapel pin and make it nice and flat, which is kind of funny because back in the day I looked at this pumice, and on the label it said it contained arsenic. So not only was I exposed to lead, which is a neurotoxin, but then I was exposed to arsenic too. I guess that's why I'm so tough today, and none of those things killed me. The next step is electroplating. So then these lapel pins, one at a time, have to be attached to a wire and then attached to this little rack. And then they are electroplated, first in copper, then in nickel, and then in gold. That's right, 24 karat gold electroplated. Beautiful, beautiful pins. Next step is back to the painting room where they were given a clear coat of acrylic and back into the ovens to bake again. After that, they would come out of the oven and they'd go through the final inspection process. These pins had to be perfect. We checked everything. We looked for bubbles in the paint. We looked for the pin back or the nail on the back. Was it crooked? Was it damaged? Was there anything not perfect? If it didn't pass inspection, it got thrown into the pile like a big bucket. We even had a 55-gallon drum full of reject pins. That's probably where I got a lot of my pins from my collection. If there was something not perfect, they were tossed in a barrel, and over time it would accumulate. And guess what we did? We scooped them up, we put them in the kettle, and we melted them down. Scrape off the slag on the top. They were recycled and repurposed into new lapel pins. At one point, we had a 55-gallon drum filled with lapel pins. Holy cow, if we only knew back in the mid-80s what those were worth. There was no eBay back then. We had no idea. That was probably $1 million worth of pins, but they all got melted down into lead ingots. But I did manage to salvage some of those, and I still have them today. So the business closed in 1986, and these lapel pins we made were like jewelry quality. They're almost like a brooch. And I'm not picking on China, but overseas companies, they were making lapel pins very quickly and very cheaply. They would stamp them out of steel. They could offer them to customers much, much cheaper than we could. Difficult to compete, so eventually we closed. So let's change the camera angle now and go to the desk. Alright, so for this part of the video, I'm going to record with my headset. So this is part of my collection here. I hope the lighting is okay and you can see it. I'll hold it up to the camera. But I just want to give you an example of what I have. These are the tractor pull tractor pins. I know the lighting is terrible. I thought I sold all these, but actually I have two. I got this one too. Now you can see this is a defect. That nail is missing there. It broke off, and this was in the scrap heap to be melted down. So of course, what teenage boy wouldn't want a tractor pull tractor pin? Not something I could sell because it's broken, but it was still pretty cool. And just anything that's neat, like this little, this is the Lions Club. They have different chapters all over the country. This was a Florida chapter. I think it's not damaged here. It might be damaged somewhere else. So we made a lot of pins for the Lions Club, and they just love collecting stuff like this. This actually I could sell. Still got the two clasps on the back. Here is an example of one that's never been plated. This is a 3D one. It has no nails in the back, and it says Dreamer, I think, on the front. So this could have been a prototype for a customer. It was just never made into a pin. But I found this digging in the scrap heap. I thought it was pretty cool, so I kept that. This one is a mosquito. You can see right here, there was a Lions Club emblem that broke off, so that was thrown in the scrap heap, but I kept it because it had this little miniature bear trap. It's like a mosquito trap. I just thought it was kind of cool. But that's the level of detail and you know, specifics, like this little trap on here that we would connect with a linking machine. Here's another Lions Club. It says Knights of Sight, like that. It's pretty cool. That's sellable too. I don't know why this was in the scrap heap, but I got a bunch of those. I just thought they were neat because they had a knight on it. There's a black one. This one's got like a monk. So we would make these little three-dimensional castings and attach them to these lapel pins. This is very heavy. I mean, you don't see stuff coming out of China that looks like this. And they weren't cheap. I mean, we charged quite a bit, I think, for each unit. Here's like the band Alabama. Not sure why that was ordered, but you can see it has no pins on the back. No way to attach it. So again, it could have been a prototype. Don't know. Could have been a defect thrown in the heap to be melted down. Here's an old car. It doesn't say what it is on the back. Just kind of a cool old car. This is a semi-truck. You can see it's got the Lions Club logo on the back. It's supposed to have a dangly hanging from it, but maybe it broke off. I don't know, but yeah, very nice. I do have a copper. So there's an example. So this one is a Republican Party pin. See how it's copper? It never went through the gold plating process. So that's what it looks like when it comes out of the copper tank. Just an example. This one is a cougar up in a tree. This is three-dimensional. Not easy to make a die for this. It takes a lot of trial and error, and these are very expensive to make, and we charged a lot. This little lizard. These are hard to paint too. Just a cute guy. I think he was, yeah, he's got little hooks, so he's supposed to be attached at the bottom of a lapel pin. This is my coolest one. This is a snake. Look at this big old anaconda here. Could you imagine being in the paint room and seeing this come down the line? This takes a lot of work to paint something like that, and it's heavy. You know, it's a little kind of hollow on the back, but you know, the engraver had a heck of a time trying to make that, I'm sure, and very expensive. Something was supposed to be attached to the bottom. I'm not sure if this was a prototype or what it was, but I dug it out of the barrel before it got melted down, and I'm sure this is a Lions Club lion. A three-dimensional lion. Now some of these I pulled off my eBay store, like this Corvette pin. It's still in the bag. I don't know if you can see it pretty good. I just decided not to sell anymore because I want to keep them. There's the eagle. Three-dimensional, very heavy. I mean, this is like, you know, 3 or 4 ounces. Very heavy. Here's a hunting dog treeing a raccoon. Oops. You can see that dog there. Treating a raccoon. Some organization wanted that, not sure who, but you know, there's nothing attached there. Oh yeah, so let's see, King Kong monster truck. I did sell one of these for 35 bucks. I should have kept it. Pretty cool. I hope the lighting works on that. It's got information on the back, like the year. King Kong. Oh yeah, so the nail broke. See that nail is missing there in the corner? So you can't sell, we couldn't sell that, and it was going to be scrapped, so I saved it from the scrap pile. There's another, where is it? There's a Jack Daniels bottle in here. So here's a snowmobile. This is what it looks like before it's plated. Just plain lead. You can see it's got no coloring at all. But then, yeah, you got the nails on the back, just little brass nails. So that's what it looks like on the line. When we put it in little trays to paint it when it's done, and then it gets buffed. I explained all that earlier in the video. Here's my Jack Daniels. At the bottom of the bottle, you can see the paint chipped off. So into the scrap heap it went, and I'm like, hey, what 18-year-old boy wouldn't want a Jack Daniels lapel pin? That's pretty cool. Some of them are funny. That's the reason I kept it. This one says nobody's perfect. There's a guy sawing a branch while he's sitting on it. I just thought it was funny. Here's a Cobra. It's got AC Cobra, Carol Shelby. Super cool. It's got no pins on the back, so it was going to be melted down, but I saved it, kept it. Thought it was cool. Oh, this is like a little sexy Indian woman. Don't know why I kept that. Here's another Corvette, a red and white one. There you go. You can see that. Sold a bunch, kept a bunch. This one I just thought was funny. It's a car muffler and it says exhausted. Not really sure why it's got a pin on the back. So, sellable by one. Here's a giant mallard duck. I mean, this is, look at the work on this thing. It's crazy. Three-dimensional, lots of painting. It broke off of here. It's supposed to be connected. On the top here, it's supposed to have a Lions Club emblem, which snapped off. So all of that work, and then it gets, you know, it's going to be melted down. So I saved it. This is, if you know Mad Magazine, you know this artist here. It's supposed to say, I'm old, I'm too old or something, but it broke off because it was real fragile and thin, so I saved it because I thought it was funny. Jet fighter, let's see, some three-dimensional ones, like this is a little police officer. You can barely tell. I got a bunch of those, so I just thought they were kind of cool. This is a really old Corvette, I think it's the first year, yeah, 53 Corvette, white convertible. See that through the bag. Kept that one. This one I just thought was neat. It's, what does it say? Some kind of machinery. And then the wheel spins. So that was very difficult to make, to, you know, have a casting with a spinning wheel like that and plate it, not have it all stick together. I mean, just some of the stuff that customers asked for. This one Corvette was a reject, and see if you can tell why. I'll take it out of the bag. I had this in my eBay store and then I took it down. But this was in the scrap heap to be melted. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but the white on the door, the paint, the maroon paint bled into the white paint. So it's kind of almost pink. So it didn't pass inspection, but it's got the clasp on the back. Really nice, so that's a keeper. Let's see. Oh yeah, this was in my eBay store too. The pig cop. This little police officer pig. Right there, real tiny. I mean, like less than half an inch. And then this one too, this was really cool, but it's all broken, was this dragon. So this was a Lions Club. You can see the emblem there. He had like fake jewels in his eyes. I just thought it was neat. Saw this, you know, scheduled to be melted down, so I saved it. Lots of littles. This one is a pig cop head. It's just his head. Hard to see that. And then another Corvette. This has got a busted nail on the back, so can't sell that, but that's what it looks like from the front, just like a side view of a Corvette. And that's about it. I do have more. I don't know if I showed that one or not. That's one of my favorites. I just like the color. I like teal. Kind of cool. That was for sale, but I took it down. So that's it, guys. Corvette. My lapel pin collection. Most of it right here. Alright, I'm such a bonehead. I had to come back down to the eBay office because I forgot to do this part. So what is this here? Got this little bag. Oh, what do we got here? Oh, look at that. Midwest Picker merchandise. Little bag. What do I have in this bag? Well, I got dirt on the bag right now, but so inside of here, I forgot the most important lapel pin, so I had to come back down to the eBay office to record this part of the video. Hopefully the audio is picking up pretty good. So inside of here are two prototypes, and this is like one of one in the entire world. So do you recognize that symbol right there? That's right. Yeah, so I had the idea, this one has actually got pin backs on it, but it's, oops, almost dropped it. There we go. This is one of one. So what we did is I took an image of MTV's little pin back button, gave it to the engraver, and I said, hey, I got an idea. I don't know that MTV even sells lapel pins, so can we make a prototype, mail it to MTV headquarters in New York City, their marketing department? So that's what we did. We made like 6 prototypes, different colors, and we mailed them to them with a price list and a brochure. And I kept these 2. Now this one is off a little bit. It's got no nails on the back, but you can notice the M is too long. It's like a capital M. It's not like the logo from MTV. So this was a reject. And then this one, they got just about perfect. Very, very close to the thing. Very close to the actual logo. Weird thing is, we never heard from MTV. They never wrote back, they never called, they never did anything. But I kept this one pin, so this is one of one. This is the only one I know that exists. Somebody in New York City, you know, maybe they have those 5 pins that we sent them and they kept them. I don't know, I have no idea. But this is the only one that I have. This is probably the only one that exists. So this is it, one of one. Just wanted to show this to you guys. Alright guys, that's the video. I hope you liked it. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. If you know anybody that collects lapel pins or would find this video useful for looking for lapel pins out in the wild, share this video. There's a little link down below where you can share it to people. Give it a thumbs up. Ask any questions down in the comments if you have any questions. My email is down below. You can follow me on Instagram, MidwestPicker.com. Send me questions on Instagram. And if you like the lapel pins, let me know down below. If you have any from the 70s or 80s, let me know. I would like to know that too. That would be cool. Maybe you can shoot me some pictures of your collection on Instagram. But that's it, guys. Hope you liked the video. See you next time.